Millions of men and women sometimes watch porn, and most adults have sex. Nothing wrong with that, you might say. But when watching porn or having sex becomes an addiction. Sex and porn addiction is an unhealthy or excessive urge for sex or porn. The same criterion applies here as with all other addictions. If it is something that engages people every day, and if it causes them to stop doing those activities they used to enjoy, then it's possible that they are compulsive about sex. So today I am talking about porn and sex addiction. In addition, I will give you some tips about how to watch porn from time to time without damaging your relationship. When we think of sex addiction, we often think of dirty men in long gray raincoats. But in reality, there are normal-looking men, nice friends, sweet fathers, and funny partners. Sex addiction can manifest itself in all kinds of ways: excessive porn use, or an extreme amount of sex with one's own partner, or many others. During sex and also when watching porn, substances are released into the brain through the visualization. Through sexual stimulation, visual, physical, virtual, auditory, and in fantasy, the dopamine is released, which causes a person to experience pleasure and happiness. However, if that happens too often, overstimulation occurs, and more is needed for the same effect. But sex addiction isn't really about sex at all. It's about the need to be loved and the pleasant feeling. The addict goes for intensity rather than intimacy. Sex addicts do not always feel like having sex extra often, but use sex to control negative emotions. Loneliness, emptiness, inferiority, they try to make these feelings disappear with sexual stimuli. This works. The person gets a short kick, but in the end it doesn't provide much pleasure and satisfaction. Sex addicts may have been neglected or traumatized in their childhood. It's not always like this, but it often happens. But all of them at some point in their lives start to associate their negative emotions with sex. What makes porn so irresistible is that it's something that is only a person's secret, so-called an escape island, where no one could come. What happens to many sex addicts is that sex became an end in itself and that they do not always enjoy. They keep going even when they don't feel like it at all. It is, after all, an obsession. It is a way to get rid of boredom and also to release tension. Sex and porn addiction is an unhealthy or excessive urge for sex or porn. Everything is relative, you would say. Well, it can be compared to drugs. You can get high from it. Addicts often tell that they long for that special feeling over and over again to forget about their problems. Some porn addicts can have a normal sex life with their partners, besides being obsessed with porn. At the beginning of a relationship, partners often suspect nothing. Only years later, they begin to notice that something is not right, especially if the problem gets worse. At some point, addiction will have a major impact on daily functioning. It can cause problems in dealing with family and loved ones. Many addicts can no longer function properly at work or school. The shame can lead to gloom, fears, and depressed feelings. Although there are more men than women with sex addiction, shame plays an even greater role in women than in men. So a vicious circle is created. Sex addiction often becomes more and more extreme in time. Sex addiction is treatable. It is treated by a psychologist or a sexologist. During therapy, people are not forbidden from going to sex sites, but tackle a deeper problem. For example, you can work on self-esteem. The goal is to make someone less dependent on porn. It's quite possible that a person still watches porn from time to time. It is okay as long as it doesn't become compulsive. And as with any addiction, relapse is no exception. The idea is that a person learns to recognize wrong signals and to pick up themselves by using other strategies to deal with negative emotions. A person learns during therapy that he can work on his self-esteem instead of looking for it through external things such as sex, drugs, alcohol, or hard work. He learns to pick up his hobbies again, invest in his relationship, and thus regain control of his life. That happens in small steps. The first and most important is to keep talking to your partner about porn use. Listen to each other and respect each other's opinions and feelings. If you feel uncomfortable with your partner's use of porn, let him or her know. It is important to look for something that is exciting and acceptable to both of you. In any case, what women do not find exciting is not attractive men in combination with stunning young women, as one of the studies shows. But still, women and men are different. That's why clear communication is number one. It seems obvious, but try to put things into perspective. The people in porn are actors. The models are made more attractive with makeup and plastic surgery. Your real partner is always better than a picture. And if you disagree, you need to seriously review your sex life. Perhaps there is a deeper personal problem or a relationship problem. Always consider your partner's feelings if you are the one who wants to use porn. The partner may feel ignored, incompetent, or second choice. If your sex frequency in bed drops while your porn use increases, stop watching porn and focus your energy on your relationship. It's important that both partners are comfortable with the frequency of porn use. Think of porn as a complement to, not a substitute for sexual intimacy. And finally, discuss your fantasies with your partner. Maybe you like the idea of porn, but the movies or pictures don't appeal to you. Then you can discuss your fantasies with your partner. For many couples, this is one of the best ways to have fun sex. Thank you for your attention. Bye.